Winterhold. This region of Skyrim is best known for its college, and honestly, it's the only thing worth visiting in this region in-game. But what does the future of this hold of Skyrim have in store for it? That, my dear viewer, is the question I aim to answer today. How Yinz doing? I'm Ian, and this is my speculation on what happens inside of Winterhold after the credits roll in Skyrim. So without further ado, let's get into it. The Hold of Winterhold contains the northeast corner of Skyrim, and has terrain best described as what if Antarctica replaced the penguins with polar bears and frost trolls. Due to its desolate and unpopulated nature, this part of the province of Skyrim is only visited for two reasons. The first is when you have to enter an ancient tomb in the area in order to complete a questline, such as when you have to enter Ysgramor's tomb during the Companion's questline, but the second, far more common reason players will set foot in this region is to learn magic from the local college. This is because in Skyrim, in order to learn new spells, you need to find a consumable item known as a spellbook and use it in order to learn the new spell. And while there are many different places in-game where you can find these spellbooks, the one that is both the most reliable and spelled out to you by every NPC whom you are able to ask is the College of Winterhold itself. Since the college is the only reason anyone intentionally sets foot in the Hold of Winterhold, I will be covering the Hold and the college together in this video, unlike with the Rift and the Thieves Guild. Since unlike the Hold of the Rift, the Hold of Winterhold doesn't really have a lot going for it to set it apart from the faction that lives here. So allow me to recap the events of the College of Winterhold questline to refresh your memory. We join the college by screaming at the receptionist, discover a plot MacGuffin on a class field trip, do a series of fetch quests for different NPCs in the college to figure out what the plot MacGuffin is. Then the local ambassador of the elf Nazis kills the principal and takes control of the plot MacGuffin. We then enter an ancient Nordic tomb, as is tradition, to get a different plot MacGuffin, as is tradition, to kill the elf Nazi, as is tradition, via the Nazim special, which is not tradition, but it should be. Then the Illuminati come in to take away the poorly written plot device and name us the new school principal. The remaining school staff that was not murdered by the elf Nazi when he had control of the plot device decide that the Illuminati have a point and that we should be in charge of the school now, give us our new uniform, and then we learn that the real magic was how Bethesda managed to get us to be the head of the local magic school without casting a single spell. Because our mage build devolved into yet another stealth archer, goddammit. But where does this all leave the trajectory of Winterhold's future? In short, the college will continue to be a place for aspiring mages to get themselves killed due to negligent supervision. In theory, we, the player, as the new college head, might be able to do something to improve this, but realistically, we seem to be the kind of person who's too busy going on epic quests across Skyrim to actually sit around the college all day actually making meaningful reforms that'll stick. And given Bethesda's propensity to write out our player characters out of the setting as soon as the credits roll, more or less, I find it extremely doubtful that, to be quite honest with Yinz, I don't really see us, the player, achieving anything lasting in the college's history beyond adding some more stuff to be stolen from the college's library. In fact, the only meaningful reform I think our player character might realistically be able to achieve before being written out of the setting by the writers will likely be some sort of ban on Thalmor agents within the college's walls. After all, the last Thalmor ambassador murdered our predecessor, so that's pretty good enough reason to ban all Thalmor agents within the college. Combine this with the fact that the College of Winterhold is on the literal opposite side of the world from the Thalmor's homeland of the Somerset Isles, and I find it very unlikely that they'll be able to successfully steal anything from Winterhold in the near future. But regardless of what the Thalmor decide to do or not do with the college, it's safe to assume that it's going to be a repository for aspiring wizards throughout the whole of Tamriel for the foreseeable future, meaning Winterhold as a whole is going to have to deal with a lot of tourists of the arcane persuasion in the foreseeable future. And how they decide to go about this is going to depend heavily on who the Jarl is at the end of the game, which will depend on who you sided with during the Civil War. But on the subject of Jarls, at the start of the game, we have the Stormcloak loyalist Courier. This man blames the college for an event known as the Great Collapse, where Bethesda decided to write the entire city of Winterhold out of the setting to make sure they were able to make the 11/11/11 release date for Skyrim that the marketing department kept salivating over. The biggest issue I have with the Great Collapse from a narrative sense is the fact that it happened almost a century ago, yet they've done basically nothing to rebuild the city whatsoever. It's literally just a general store, the Jarl's manor, the local inn, and like one or two houses that aren't destroyed. You think the Jarl would have done more to actually try to rebuild a town or something, but no, he just spouts hatred towards wizards and elves in general, and if you go up to him to ask how you can help out the Hold, he just sends you on a fetch quest to get a helmet in order to get him some prestige among the other Jarls instead of actually doing anything productive like rebuilding the city you live in. I mean, for the love of the divines, man, if you want the other Jarls to respect you, how about you spend the money you're paying me to get you some useless helmets back and spend them actually rebuilding houses so people have somewhere to live around here? There are multiple demolished buildings on the same street as your own damn house, and you are not even trying to rebuild them whatsoever. Thankfully, however, if you decide with the Imperials, someone less xenophobic ends up being in charge of the Hold. His name is Kradar, and once he takes the position of Jarl, he'll actually express interest in deepening relations with the college, which, while never actually amounting to anything in-game, will most likely mean the town will start to have an entrance more friendly to arcane tourists. After all, I could easily see this new Jarl convincing the professors at the college to help him build a new port in the cliffside of Winterhold in order to get a new port. It'll allow the wizards to have easier and cheaper access to imports from abroad across the whole of Tamriel, while also helping boost the local economy of Winterhold. But regardless of who ends up Jarl of the Hold of Winterhold, I suspect they'll have ample tax money in order to make some meaningful changes in the near future due to the discovery of Blackreach. Blackreach, for those of you who forgot, is a vast underground region of Skyrim we explore in-game. And while it is full of blind albino goblins who identify as elves, who are extremely dangerous to the average Joe of the region, Blackreach is also an entirely unexplored ecosystem full of economic possibilities. Because of this, I suspect once the war ends, wealthy mages will start financing expeditions to study and slowly colonize this underground region. How this will play out exactly deserves its own video, but to suffice to say, I suspect Winterhold will be the one collecting tax money since, while there are multiple entrances to Blackreach in multiple different holds of Skyrim, most clues that can lead to someone actually discovering this region on their own are found inside the College of Winterhold. And the closest entrance to the College of Winterhold is also inside the Hold of Winterhold. So while it is possible for other holds in Skyrim such as the Pale to make legal claim over Blackreach for tax income, it's unlikely they'll even discover this region exists until long after Winterhold has put a foothold inside this region. And with dragons returning, I suspect the majority of local leadership will be more concerned at dealing with that crisis than actually trying to figure out who gets tax money from the new underground hold they discovered. But with the dragons returning, I suspect many individuals will start gaining a deeper interest in their origins in the ancient dragon cults, meaning a lot of wizards are going to start exploring ancient Nordic tombs throughout Skyrim, most noteworthy of these being the Telvanni Wizards of Morrowind. This is something that's going to be happening across the whole of eastern Skyrim, but in Winterhold it will be the most prevalent. The Telvanni are a house of wizards containing the most powerful spellcasters in the whole of Morrowind to Skyrim's east, and they have a habit of building their homes in mushroom towers that they create with their own magic. As these wizards inevitably start gaining an interest in the ancient dragon cults in order to learn more about dragons, I suspect that they'll start building their own towers throughout the whole of eastern Skyrim. This will have the most noticeable impact in the Hold of Winterhold simply because there's basically no one else living in the Hold whatsoever outside of its capital city. And while these powerful wizards are unlikely to be paying taxes or intentionally contributing to the local economy in any meaningful capacity, they are a people used to having a legion of slaves doing stuff for them. And unlike in Morrowind, slavery is illegal inside of Skyrim, so the Telvanni will need to either get creative with how they're producing slaves, resort to necromancy, or just start hiring locals to do stuff for them. And since for such powerful wizards, creating a few magical items they can sell for a massive profit would be a trivially easy endeavor, I suspect the latter is going to be the go-to response for the majority of them. I mean, what sounds easier to you? Trying to figure out how to teach a Draugr how to cook your dinner? Or spend an afternoon creating a magical item that you can sell for such an insane sum of money that you can hire someone to cook for you for the rest of the year. Because of this, I suspect that a series of Telvanni wizard towers are going to start appearing and creating boon towns at their foundations. In these towns, I suspect the Telvanni will start selling magical items in order to acquire large sums of money in order to hire people to explore the tombs for them so they don't need to risk their own lives in the endeavor. All of this culminates to make me believe that while Winterhold will still continue to be a mostly empty winter wasteland, some interesting endeavors are going to start unfolding in the region. But what do you guys think? Let me know down in the comments, like the video if you did, subscribe if you don't want to miss the next one. I've been Ian, you have been you, and I thank you for watching. Have a nice day.